and we'll get going on this. Mute should be in the lower left-hand corner if you have it. Okay, I'm going to just wait for Kathy Campbell to come in. Okay, Kathy, we see your picture. Are you there? No. We just lost her. Suzanne, you're still on mute. Okay, we are being recorded for this. So today is Wednesday, May 6th. It's just after 6 p.m. We're going to do a Zoning Board of Appeals meeting with a Zoom conference, and this is being recorded on Walpole Media TV. So the one case that we have for discussion tonight is Burns Ave 40B discussion and vote to determine the application's request for project change. Ashley, do you want to talk to us about your thoughts on this and what you have?
Can you hear me? Okay. So basically all we need to do tonight is vote on whether or not the proposed changes are substantial or insubstantial. I sent a memo out outlining the reasons why I'm recommending that you vote to find that the changes are substantial, mainly that it's an increase from 32 to 40 units, representing a 25% increase. The regulations kind of use 10% as a guiding number to look at, so this is clearly within that. And also the addition of another access into the site. That's clearly a pretty significant change. An example of an insubstantial change that I've seen in a previous 40B was for a mixed-use project where they had commercial space and they originally hadn't planned on having any restaurant in there. And then as they kind of further developed the plans, they found a restaurant that wanted to occupy the space. So they had to make some changes for that. So that's an example of an insubstantial change that I've seen. So I think this definitely meets the criteria to be determined substantial. And I can talk to, what that means in terms of next steps and whatnot. George can correct me if I'm saying anything wrong or should add anything.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. And I hope everybody had a chance to review the plans because after I reviewed them, I came to the same conclusion that Ashley had, that this is a substantial change. George, do you want to say anything as far as legally on this, or what's your thoughts?
Sure, just very briefly. Can you hear me okay? Great. Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Yeah, I would agree. And under the regulations is, pretty clear just on the increase in the housing units of more than 10% under 760 CMR 56.074. That gives examples of a substantial change. So if you were to vote a substantial change, it would certainly be consistent with the regulation. And I would just note one other thing would be Mass Housing also found this was a substantial change already in their amendment to their project eligibility letter. Not that that's binding on you, but it's certainly, something that's relevant.
Okay. Suzanne, any board members want to say anything? Just take yourself off mute and say what you have to say.
This means a full-blown refile, correct?
Yeah, so they would need to submit an application. The only things that would be under the ZBA's purview are the changes. And George, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it would just be the new portions of the application. But certainly, I think changing the flow of the traffic by adding in that other access would be a new thing for this board to review.
Yeah, so I would just add, if you vote that it's a substantial change or a substantial modification, you need to open a public hearing on it. And so then you would have the public hearing the way you would have on the initial application. And, you know, his filing, the applicant's filing already has qualified. He has to provide written notice to the board of his proposed project change. Then you have 20 days to vote on that, which you're within that deadline right now by meeting tonight and voting the determination. And then in the event that you find it substantial, you're going to go through the regular 40B public hearing process following that. COVID complicates it a little bit in that ordinarily what you have to do under the regulations is open your public hearing within 30 days of your determination. And later, you know, the chair can decide what he wants to do in terms of a date that you want to schedule for the public hearing. Under the COVID emergency order, you can defer opening that hearing while the state of emergency is in effect, as long as you open it within 45 days after that state of emergency lifts. So I'll leave it to you later in the meeting on what you want to do for a hearing date.
Yeah, this is Bob. I would just agree that a straightforward application of the regs leads you to the conclusion that this is a substantial change. So, you know, I think that's that would be my recommendation for the board to consider voting in that way.
Agreed.
Okay, Jane, Rick, Drew, any other comments from board members on this?
Oh, I'm all set. I agree. Seems the appropriate thing to do, so.
Yeah, I just think that the traffic flow issue is very substantial. And I noticed he took out all of the visitor parking as well. So we have some issues to talk about.
Okay, I do have one procedural question. Either George or Ashley, there'll be a new filing. Who actually does that filing? Who pays for that new filing?
That would be the applicant.
Yeah, better be.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Also,
I just want to be clear.
since we're adding a new parcel, I just want to say that there's implications for the abutters list, so that will also need to be updated so that the correct people are duly notified.
Okay, good.
The other I think I would just raise is the payment of funds for peer review. I'm thinking of there's going to need to be a modification, presumably, to the traffic study. And I don't know at what point we make that request of the applicant, but maybe that's at the point at which we open the hearing. But there was some discussion at the last part of the hearing before we voted on the comprehensive permit about whether he was willing to pay for additional stuff. And so I think we'll need to just be prepared to make that request at the right time.
So similar to what we did with the Doobie Street proposal and the Summer Street 40B, we'll work to start getting some scopes of work with peer reviewers that we think would be helpful for your review of this project. Once you kind of vote and determine that these are substantial, we'll start getting that in motion. But certainly this board is entitled to that peer review the same way it would be with any other application.
I feel we'll also need one for Trap Hole Brook too. I mean, now he's going to carve through the brook, right? He's not? Oh, okay. I thought he was.
Okay, unless Ashley or George, you recommend anything else, I think we're ready to vote as a board that on this being a substantial modification. Is there anything else we should be looking at?
No, you would just want your roll call vote on that, a motion and then a vote, roll call.
Okay, could I have somebody make a motion to consider this a substantial modification of the existing 40B permit?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Suzanne, second by Jane. Any further discussion on this?
Just note that the motion's based on the letter received from the applicant and the plans provided on the date. I think I have them somewhere if we need the specific date, but I think we should just tie the motion to the plans submitted and as well as the correspondence.
Okay.
Looks like the plan date, if I'm correct, is April 21, 2020.
Okay. And Amy, will you just confirm that when you make the minutes?
Yes, I will. I'm doing them right now, so they'll be in there.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. So this will be a roll call vote, and I'll just go around the screen. Suzanne, how do you vote?
Murphy, aye.
Okay. Bob? Unmute yourself.
Oh, aye.
Jane?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, so it's a unanimous vote that it is considered a substantial change. Okay. Good. So, Amy, you'll work with the applicant as he comes in with new filing for this this project.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Just a question on that is what he's already submitted considered his filing, or does he have to make a formal application beyond what he's already submitted?
I was going to add, can I talk on that? Ashley, were you going to say anything? I didn't want to interrupt.
Go for it.
Sorry, I unmuted myself, John. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it,
Yeah,
George.
I would consider what he filed sufficient for you to have to open that public hearing. Ashley can always determine, if there's inadequacies to his filing, but the way the regs work is when he makes that written notice of project change and the supporting plans, that triggers that 20-day deadline that you have to deem it substantial or insubstantial. Then once you make that determination, you have 30 days to open the public hearing. So I would go ahead and discuss how you want to handle opening the public hearing on that now, because that filing that he has made is sufficient to trigger all these deadlines.
We do have the special legislation there. My understanding is that we have 45 days from the lift of the state of the emergency in that hearing.
Yeah, so on that issue, did you want me to speak to that, John?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so as Ashley correctly noted, you have the special legislation under the COVID emergency now, and that provides that constructive approvals cannot occur in the period of the state of emergency. And similarly, there are other provisions that if there is a public hearing that has to be commenced within that time period, you do not have to commence the public hearing within that time as long as you commence it within 45 days after the state of emergency lifts. And so if you want to, you could just, notify the applicant that you intend to, if you don't want to continue it to a date certain tonight to open the public hearing, you could defer scheduling the public hearing until the state of emergency is lifted, and then you would just make sure that you schedule it within 45 days of the lifting of the state of emergency. Another option that you could do is you could pick a date tonight, just as sort of a placeholder. And if the state of emergency is still in effect on that date that you selected, you'd be able to, on your own, without any consent of the applicant, continue that hearing date into that same 45-day period following the lifting of the state of emergency. See what I'm saying? So ordinarily, if the state of emergency wasn't in effect, you would have to pick a hearing date tonight within 30 days. You don't have to schedule that because the state of emergency is in effect, but you're also free to pick a date, and you can continue that on your own when that date comes up and if the state of emergency is still in effect. So say, for instance, you put it for June 3rd, And you would not have to open it that night. You would be able to continue it automatically. If the state of emergency is lifted, then you would have to go forward with that, at least the initial night of the first public hearing session on this. And your public hearing you'll have your regular 180-day, your 6-month period to conduct your public hearing once that commences. You know what I'm saying? Just like any 40B application, you've made the substantial determination, then you would have your ordinary full time to conduct your public hearing on that as though it was a initial 40B application.
Okay, so I don't see a real advantage to picking a date tonight. It sounds like we should just, wait until this expires, the state of emergency ends, and then we have 45 days. Because I think if we pick a date, that's going to tie us to something. Is that correct, or what's your thoughts, George?
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that would be Ashley's preferred approach, and that's in accord with the special legislation. That you would just as long as you, once that state of emergency lifts, as long as you schedule that public hearing within that 45-day period, you're safe. Not selecting a date tonight.
Another benefit of that is there are abutters who are interested in this project, and I try to avoid having meetings with agenda items on it that aren't going to happen, and just kind of, it creates a little confusion and confusion at the folks. So I don't have a vote here, but I think the clean thing would be to just wait and then pick a date and out to the abutters and on the public drive.
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree as well. It simplifies the notice requirement, I think, for the applicant, and the abutters only get one notification, and they're going to have some confidence that we're going to go forward. If we wait until the emergency order is lifted and they're not receiving, a notice today, and another notice 3 weeks from now, and I think if we can, I think it would simplify the process and avoid confusion if we waited. So.
Okay, that being stated by everybody, unless somebody else has something to add, at this time we will not take any action, and we will wait for the state of emergency to end, at which point we will, it'll be advertised within 45 days of the ending of the state of emergency. That sound good to everybody? Okay.
Yes.
And particularly our council.
Yes, that sounds great by council. Thank you. Perfect.
Do we need to vote on that at all, or do we just, is that just our conclusion of the board? Okay. I didn't know if there's any formal action we have to take.
Not a bad idea to vote it.
Okay. Then could I have a motion to take no action on this until the state of emergency is ended?
So moved.
Second.
Second by Suzanne. This will be a roll call vote. All those, if you're in favor, just say aye.
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 Okay, and I'm also an aye. So that's unanimous on taking no action until the state of emergency is lifted.
At which time you will schedule the public hearing within 45 days.
Correct.
Okay.
If I can just really quickly, we'll look at the materials that were submitted against the regulations for an application and give you kind of an overview of to what extent the materials were submitted meet the minimum application requirements.
Okay, yeah, that's an important thing because we're very clear now what the zoning board expects for a complete application that lines up with the 40B requirements. Okay, thank you, Ashley.
Just one other suggestion. I don't know if the scope of this hearing is limited to the changes made to the prior plan set. It would be nice to have sort of a list of what those changes will be so that we can focus our attention on the things that have changed as opposed to anything that we can't really look at.
Sure, no problem. I have I'm working on a table that kind of shows the square footage and the unit count, and there wasn't enough information to start doing the analysis on like the bedroom count and whatnot. But we'll certainly give you that comparison. I think it would be helpful as well.
Totally.
Thanks, Ashley.
Okay, I see this is a public hearing. We do have Kathy Campbell and Melissa on here. I don't know who Melissa is, but do you have anything to say or add at this time?
It's Melissa Packard. No, I don't have anything to add. Thank you.
Okay, if is there anything else business for the board tonight? Ashley, do you have anything for us?
Nope, not tonight. Yeah, thank you.
Well, it's very nice to see everybody's smiling faces, and nice to see that you're all still at least with us. It's such a strange time, and I appreciate all the work people are doing out there to keep us healthy and safe. So we'll all get through this together, but I really appreciate all the people out there working hard. So anything, if we have nothing else, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Suzanne.
Second by Jane.
By Jane. All those in favor of adjourning for this evening, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Good evening, everybody. Take care. Nice to see you.
Be well.
See you later. Bye.
things to vote on. Landis, you want to explain the authorization for signatures? Basically, I think we'll do what we have done before. Landis will explain what we're doing here, then we'll go around the room and vote. We have Doug on here?
Yes, Doug's there.
Doug's here, okay.
Yeah, I'm called in using my phone.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we'll just, Landis will explain what's going on here, then we'll go around and vote. And then we have a certificate of compliance also to do. So Landis, you want to explain what's going on here?
Sure. So I think everyone got a copy of a sample email that's called a certificate of vote authorizing signatures. So under the COVID-19 modified regulations, we are allowed to issue documents like an order of conditions, which usually has a signature page with as long as without the actual signatures, with a digital signature. So the certificate of vote, which needs to be a roll call vote, is each commissioner giving their authority to use this document will be recorded at the Registry of Deeds. And then when we issue a order of conditions, the signature page will reference this document where you've given your permission to use a digital signature. Now, we'll still hold hearings. You'll still have votes. There'll still be minutes recognizing your votes. It doesn't authorize any issuance of documents based on this vote. It just authorizes us to use the signature page with a digital signature.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Does anybody have any questions? We'll go around the room.
So I think, Jack, before we do this, let's just do a roll call vote for the actual meeting so that there's a roll call of who's actually here for the meeting.
Okay.
Can we do that first?
Question. I have a question. I'm not sure.
Just Betsy, just for the official meeting, can we just do a roll call vote? So in our minutes, it says each of you are here at the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go around the room. Doug?
Doug's here by phone.
Okay, Emilio?
Emilio's here.
Betsy?
Yeah.
Al?
Al can't hear you.
Okay, I'll shout.
That's what I was trying to say. I don't think he's got his audio.
Oh, yeah, he needs his audio on.
He's not muted.
No, but he's got something going on. Every now and then there's a
He
little.
looks frozen.
No, it's not frozen. He can't seem to get his audio. There's something going on.
Can he hear us? Nod or raise your hand, Al, if you can hear us.
So. No.
Maybe you could hold up the sign and have him call in like I did.
That might be an idea.
I was going to suggest if he can hear us, he can call in.
But if he can't hear us, somebody's got to write up a sign and put it to the camera.
Does he know how to call in?
It's on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, the number to call in, is that the 981-8372-9367 number?
I know it says on the piece of paper, it says dial by your location audio only 1-646-876-9923. Right, that's where you called in, Doug?
Yes, and I have a visual of you guys. I just don't have a camera at my end.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
I think something's wrong at Al's end.
Is his volume on?
I can't tell, but you can.
Hold on.
Do we need him for a quorum? I mean, I hate to leave him out, but I mean, it's like.
Well, we would like him on the. I'm trying to call him.
Okay. He's picking up the phone.
Oh, that's a good sign.
Hi, Al. So you're having trouble with your audio? Okay, so the agenda that I gave you, it also says dial by your location for audio. So you can dial in. Well, it seems like maybe with the iPad you can't do the audio. I am not really sure. But you can dial in so you can hear us. That's what Doug did.
Landis, can Al hear us?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Candace, maybe you could put your phone on
yeah,
speakerphone.
hold on. I could try and put my phone on speaker and see if that works.
Can Al hear us?
I'm trying it. I'm trying to talk. Say something.
Hello, Al.
Landis,
Okay, Jack, talk.
I can see Landis is trying to talk.
We can hear you.
Jack,
Can Al hear us?
well, you need to talk and so we can see if he can hear you.
Well, we've been through it. Is he able to pick up the audio? Landis, ask him on the phone. Can he pick up the audio?
Al, can you hear Jack when he talks? I know you can hear me, but can you hear Jack? Jack, say something.
Al can hear us?
Say something, Al. Can you hear Jack?
I'm not hearing anybody at the moment on the telephone.
Okay, Al, can you hear us when we were doing the discussion about the vote? for
No.
the-
No, Jack,
No.
he can't.
Okay. He can hear you
Why don't
on
we
your phone.
He can call in like Doug did and get the audio. I think that's probably the best
Okay,
solution.
so how does what does he need to call in on
I'm
his
gonna tell him
cell
that.
phone?
I'm gonna tell him that right now.
Okay.
Oh. I suggest that you dial into the phone number. Yeah, you can, well, so the piece of paper, it says dial by your location for audio only. The piece of paper that I gave you with the agenda, you should say 1-646-879923. Do you have that in front of you? Okay, right, so you can dial that and then put in the meeting ID and password underneath it. And you should get logged in just through audio. And you can keep your iPad on so you can see us, but you'll also be able to hear us, talk to us. Yep. Okay, he's gonna dial in the phone audio only. Well, you guys, this is a practice run for the 13th.
Movie.
I have a question since we're doing a practice run. So here are we on split screen, or at least I've got you on split screen. Is the general audience going to be all kind of mixed in with us? You know, like let's say that there's like 10 people phoning in, or, you know, are they all going to be kind of intermingled with us? Because
Yeah, they could be. It'll be like the Brady Bunch screen, but you can probably swipe the screen for the rest of the people.
Just wondering if we can do that. I've been at a lot of Zoom meetings where I've been at 150 people. They're all scrolled across the top or down the side. Split screen with like 20 people. I just was wondering sort of how it's going to be feel, they're all kind of intermixed with us, but yeah, we'll find out.
Wouldn't expect we would, I guess if somebody wants to get into the meeting, they have to call Landis in advance and get the number so they can get, have the password or whatever that it requires to get into the meeting. Is that correct, Landis?
Yeah, that's how we set it up, that they can either email Amy or I to get the password and meeting information.
We will know who has requested to be in the meeting if anybody does.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, is Al in yet?
Doug, when you dialed by audio, did you need to put in the meeting ID and the password as well?
Yes, I had to do both.
Okay.
For me, I had that right on the computer screen in front of me, so I
Yeah.
just had to transfer that to my phone keypad.
That's funny, he has no audio.
I'm
Yeah,
wondering, is it because of the iPad?
it might be because of the iPad.
I mean, I'm on an iPad though.
Yeah, I know, and I can do it on my phone. So, what could be? What do you think could be his issue?
Could he have turned his audio way down? Like,
I want to bank on that because I feel like I could hear him slightly when he was on
Really?
the phone.
Did you ask him to turn it up?
Well, he can't hear us. Oh, Landis.
I didn't. I'll call him again.
He looks frustrated.
Yeah, he does.
I like his mustache though.
how do you like my bangs? I haven't been to a hairdresser in weeks. Get ready to chop them off myself.
You can do that.
Oh, Betsy, I'll cut your hair if you'll cut mine.
Oh,
I have a Sawzall.
Oh, now I'm just getting an answering machine.
Anybody have a weed whacker?
Okay, Landis,
Yep.
why don't you keep Al on the phone?
Oh, it's ringing again.
Okay.
Well, I was just getting his answering machine.
No.
so what's a quorum? I'm just wondering.
I think
Need
you have
4.
one.
We need 4 for a quorum.
I'm just wondering, we've got two fairly trivial things to do. We just go
Well,
with
the thing is, with the certificate of vote, you are giving your authorization to use your digital signature. So if we don't have him on the certificate of vote, which we recorded at the registry of deeds.
I see a phone. He might be dialing in. There's a phone.
He needs
I've dialed
to
in.
put in the meeting ID and password still.
I can hear you.
I can hear him. Al, are you?
Okay.
Okay. Yay.
Al, are you there?
I'm here.
Good. Okay, what we're doing is just at the moment, doing a roll call for who's in the meeting. So we'll start that over again. Doug,
I'm here.
Medio,
Medio's present.
Betsy,
Yeah.
Al,
Here.
and Jack here. Okay, now, Landis, if you could explain again the certificate of signature certificate, so then we can vote on that.
Sure. So one of the issues at this time is getting signatures on our legal documents, like our order of conditions, which we usually hand out at meetings and use ink. So the certificate of vote authorizes us to issue a document with basically a digital signature. So you're saying it's okay to use what we do is we just put your name on the order of conditions signature page. And then we reference this document, which will be recorded at the Registry of Deeds, that you've given permission to use a digital signature. It says the language on it is digital signature or ink. So it's not one over the other, but it gives us options. There may be times when I could just go and get signatures from you at your house or something like that, because it just is the Registry of Deeds. It doesn't include land court land. But this allows for certain documents to issue them and for then the applicant to take them to the Registry of Deeds and record it with a digital signature.
Does anybody have any questions? We'll go around the table. Doug?
No, I don't have any.
Emilio?
No questions.
Betsy?
Nope.
Al?
I have no problem with the signature part. I just have a problem with this setup that you have to have the tablet and the telephone tied up at the same time.
Okay, but you're okay with no questions with the signature issue?
No, I have no problem with that.
I don't have any issue with it. I'll make the motion to accept the signature proposal as
Certificate of vote.
indicated by Landis. Somebody want to second that?
Second.
Okay, good. So we have a motion and seconded. Now we'll go around the table and vote. Doug?
I'm in favor.
Emilio?
Aye.
Betsy?
Aye.
Al?
Aye.
Jack? Yes. So it's unanimous.
Okay, so Jack,
Yes.
I just for the full vote, I want to just read the language so that we have it recorded. So the certificate of vote authorizing signatures pursuant to Mass General Law C-110G. So on May 6, 2020, the Walpole Conservation Commission in open session through public accessible video conference software, being Zoom, pursuant to the order superseding certain provisions of the open meeting law issued by Governor Charles G. Baker on March 12, 2020, at this duly held meeting, the following action was taken. Motion by, who made the motion?
I did.
Jack Wiley, that the Walpole Conservation Commission hereby recognizes and accepts the provisions of Mass General Law C-110G regarding electronic signatures, and that its members will henceforth execute documents either with electronic signature or with wet ink signatures, and that both will carry the same legal weight and effect. Motion was second.
Passed. Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Roll call.
Anybody have any questions? Doug?
No questions.
Emilio?
No questions.
Betsy?
No.
Al?
No questions.
Okay, and I don't have any questions. Okay, so that's passed. Next item on the agenda was a request for a certificate of compliance.
Hey, could I make a suggestion? Al, do you want to put yourself on speakerphone? It might be a little easier. If you were on speakerphone, you wouldn't have to, because I'm just imagining next week's meeting, you're going to be holding that phone up for an hour.
Well, maybe
Well,
before next meeting, we can
have
figure out what's
we have to do better
not
than
working.
that because this isn't going to work.
But speakerphone
No.
might be more comfortable. I'm just thinking. I don't know.
I don't have a speakerphone.
Al,
Whatever that is.
Al,
Yeah.
did you check the volume on your iPad?
I have no way of knowing.
Okay, why don't you, Al, or maybe Landis, I was just thinking, could you get together with Al somehow and go over this and see maybe you could do this?
Yeah, I think before the next meeting, we can figure out how to
Get
work it
something
better for Al.
Get straightened out?
I would almost like to invite Al over to my house. We'll keep a social distance. We'll wear the fucking frickin' mask. And I'll put Al on one computer and I'll be on the other. But we can't do that.
We'll make it work better for Al for next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
And I plan to borrow a laptop.
Way to go to get a laugh, Betsy.
It's streamed live, by the way, just just keep that in mind, I guess.
Okay,
Rosie,
we have
This is
one
all
more
recorded.
item. We have one more item on our agenda. That's for a certificate of compliance for 10 Shady Lane. Landis, you want to fill us in?
Sure, 10 Shady Lane is in the High Oaks Forest subdivision. And it was work that was completed to the rear of the yard for a wall. And everything's been done according to the plan.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the certificate of compliance. Somebody want to second that?
I'll second it.
Okay, thanks, Al. Okay, we'll go around the room and vote. Doug?
If I understood correctly, Landis, you're okay with the work?
Yes, I am, Doug.
Yeah, I'll accept that.
Okay, Emilio?
Aye.
Betsy?
aye.
Al?
Aye.
Jack? Aye. So it's unanimous, so the certificate of compliance can be issued. All right, do we have anything else that anybody wants to bring up at this point, or we'll close the meeting?
Well,
Right, so-
one thing I want to bring up is we're not going by the meeting dates that we've always had. The first and third is Norwood, and the second and fourth is Walpole. So.
Right. Well, the reason we did this, Al, because it takes time for this electronic signature to get passed and approved. So we wanted to do this as soon as we could, because Landis can explain who all has to approve it before it's effective. Landis?
Right,
Yeah,
so
okay, I understand that. I just don't like having to be at two meetings next week at the same time.
All right, well, next week is the second Wednesday, which is our normal meeting. Al?
Yep. Our
Yeah,
normal meetings are the 13th and the 27th.
yeah, okay, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, it was just this meeting, Al, which was
Yeah.
unusual. Yeah, sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Okay,
Okay,
yep,
and we'll work on it says that you have a Galaxy Tab A, not a iPad, so we'll figure that out. We'll make it work for you for the
okay,
13th.
there must be a way to.
I'm sure there is. So our
Okay.
next meeting is the 13th and the 27th, and they will both be Zoom meetings.
Okay,
Well, the 27th, we don't know if that'll be a Zoom
Well-
meeting or not.
The word is, it will be.
yeah, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that town halls are not going to be open until June or maybe even later.
Okay. All right, we'll just proceed at the next one will be the 13th. Will definitely be Zoom.
Yeah,
Anybody have anything else? Doug?
No, I'm all set.
Video?
I'm all set, thanks.
Betsy?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Al, you're okay. I'm okay.
I'm
So-
okay. Yeah, I've been watching some projects around.
Yeah.
Okay, so you
Uh,
adjourning the meeting?
Then someone make a motion to adjourn?
I'll move it.
Get a second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay,
So
thanks, guys.
meeting is adjourned. We'll be back in session on the 13th.
Okay, see ya.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Good night.
Okay, Jack.
Okay.
Thanks, Landis.
Good night.